Hi everyone, this is Neel, Raithatha, consultant, audiologist and director of ClearWax. Thank you for joining me in my latest video using the iCLEARscope endoscope. And this is for a patient who normally attends every year, so it's a perennial wax removal, or should I say dead skin removal. They suffer from psoriasis of their ears, not only inside but around the back of the pinna as well, and the pinna region. And it results in them having a collection of dead skin. It's really dry and crusted. They've also got somewhat stenotic ear canal. You can see that there, it's such a small space. And this is a great video to illustrate how good the endoscopic approach is for narrow ears, because over the years you often read, I don't really comment back anymore, oh, you can't use an endoscope in narrow ears, and it's actually the opposite. I mean, I couldn't get a specular in here. So once you're skilled and you've mastered the endoscopic technique, even the smallest ears, not only possible, but in my opinion, is more effective. And the argument is you can't get the instrument and the endoscope both in the ear if it's really, really small. So firstly, our endoscope, it's custom designed. It's not one that you can just buy online, because you can get devices online. So most otto endoscopes for the ear, they have a diameter of 4 millimeters, which would be possibly too big, but still manageable if you've got the technique. And then the smaller one is 2.9 millimeters in diameter. Now ours is 2.7, so we've custom designed it. It's the smallest real one that you can get. You can get smaller ones, but then you're going to impact the view and the stability of it. And it's also the optics, which is really, really important. So one of the benefits of an endoscope is the wide panoramic field of view. But there's then a trade-off between field of view, how wide you can see inside the ear canal, and the magnification. So if you have an endoscope with kind of, in a way, excessive field of view for the ear, then the eardrum's so far away in the distance that when you're trying to remove wax deeper in the ear, you're having to insert the endoscope further into the ear, which then can cramp up space. But with the ClearWax endoscope, we've again, designed the optics, where we've kind of sacrificed some of the field of view, because how much field of view do you want in an ear canal? Because the ear canal is a narrow aperture anyway, which means there's greater magnification. It's just physics, you can't overcome that. You can't have great field of view, so seeing the periphery of the ear canal and magnification together. So there's a trade-off. So we spent about a year, I think, just kind of perfecting not only the diameter, but the field of view and magnification ratio, but also the working length. So again, most otto endoscopes, the length of the rod lens is about 55 millimeters, whereas ours is 50 millimeters, so 5 centimeters, which again allows you to have a brace. And you can see we can get the instrument in the ear and the endoscope in the ear. In some ears, which are completely collapsed as well, and I kind of shared videos like these before, we use the endoscope to stretch open the ear, almost like a crowbar. And again, in those ears, I would struggle to get a specular in to open the ear. So to clean the blockage, now they've got this thin layer of skin. I've removed, there's a little bit left at the back. Let's see if I can get a little bit out, but you can see the underlying ear canal skin is really healthy. So we've stripped the ear of all this old skin. That was the patient's main symptoms are not only reduced hearing, but really severe itchiness and irritation in the ear. And so whenever we're trying to peel that dead crusted skin away, so the itchiness goes away. There's a little bit here. So you can see the ear canal narrows towards the eardrum as well. So you're just going to be careful. So I think this is a 17 gauge suction tip, but it looks huge in the ear, and that's because they've got a stenotic ear canal. And I don't think all of it's going to come away, but I get the majority. You can see it's tearing away. And this last bit, I'm not sure if it comes away. I think it's just, because I can't move the suction tip any further to the left to peel because the canal wall's there. So I'm really happy with that. So is the patient. We played it back to her. She's always delighted because she's just experienced such a difference. But you can see how narrow that ear is. This is the same patient. This is their right ear. Probably a bit wider, but still narrow. A bit bendier. The left ear canal is a bit straighter. Similar issue here. You can see they've got this dry skin plug. It's blocking right from the entrance. So I'm going to put some oil in, no doubt, in a moment. Just trying to lift it up from the base. So although I've mobilized it, because it's a bit of a bendy ear, it's not really coming out, so it needs some lubrication. And then the oil's going to soften the layer of dead skin that's lining the canal wall. So there's the oil, just stretching open the ear. And not only stretching it, but straightening it. That's the key. It's not only are we pushing that first bend open, by pushing it open, not only are we increasing the entrance size, but we're also straightening the ear canal, because the ear canal is not a straight tube. It's a sigmoid shape, an S shape, particularly near the entrance and the outer third, between the first and second bend. It's not only narrow in that region, but it's bendy. And you can see they've got a very prominent anterior canal wall. So this is the patient's right ear. So the anterior canal wall is to the front, which is the right-hand side. And the ear canal there on the right-hand side, as it approaches the eardrum, it protrudes into the midline and then it widens again. So again, you've got this dead skin layer. The underlying skin is really healthy. It's just a chronic problem with this patient. And they've seen ENT before as well. And it's just something that we have to manage and remove for the patient. So there's a bit of, probably this is a bit of wax actually here that I've just removed there. Just going to the back part. I'm probably going to use a bit more oil in a moment. This skin I'm peeling backwards actually. You see I'm lifting it and coming all to the back, to the entrance of the ear canal. So it's almost like a reverse peel. But I'll stop there. So is it that the case that I'm going to do a front peel? Let's see. Yeah, I'm eyeing up the left-hand side. It's a bit blurry at the moment with the oil, so I'm just going to mop that up. And I'm trying to grab the skin from the entrance to peel towards the eardrum. It's just getting hold of it. It's like when you're stripping wallpaper, you need to get the corner of it almost. So then it allows you to peel. So you can see I've managed to get that. I'm just going towards the eardrum. And there's still a bit of dead skin to the right near the eardrum, and where that narrowing is, so we're going to peel that way. Again, there's probably a flake of skin that remains, but I'm really happy with what we've done. So the eardrum's fully visible. So let's see if we can peel some of the skin away. Obviously, we're working very close to the ear canal. Guys, I've read just some comments. It's been a trend recently, but a lot of people think this is the nose. And I'm not sure why people. There's a bit of sometimes arguments between people, and I'm not sure why I would want to fake the ear for the nose. I don't know the relevance of that, but if it was the nose, I'm very surprised that the nose has an eardrum. I'll let the penny drop hopefully there for those people that think it's the nose, but it's the ear. It is the ear, and to prove that, we've got an eardrum at the end. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video, guys. Take care, keep well, speak soon. Bye.